And then after Kyle, we'll have Larry. Larry, there it is.
So I'll start off by asking, who in here has asked the question, why am I here? What's my meaning and purpose? What's going on with life? Whether you are church or not church, all of us have that time. And what we're getting into today is really good because it's from Matthew 5, which is a part of the Sermon on the Mount. And for anyone who knows the difference between reading a book and watching a movie, this is like the book version. A movie always leaves so much stuff to be wanted, but when we read this book, the Sermon on the Mount, Jesus does this amazing job at every single section, speaks into our life in a way that is powerful and amazing. And here, we all want to know why we're here. At this church, we are all about identity, mission, and application. Who Christ has made me to be. My part of life is based on Jesus, what he did when he died and rose. That is everything about who we are and our mission as the church of what we do, why we exist. Our part of the church is to share the gospel with the nations. And then what does that look like for me? And so my goal is to help you understand our part of the church and what that looks like for you. Jesus spoke to that. The whole Sermon on the Mount is amazing, but we're getting into specifically salt and light. So Matthew chapter 5, verses 13 to 16, we often make a disconnect between reading something in Scripture, which was a long time ago, to now. But when we do that here, I want you to see when Jesus said, "You are the salt of the earth. But if salt has lost its taste, how shall its saltiness be restored?" When he says, "You are the salt of the earth," we often don't really give that its full weight because some of us don't even really use salt for anything. But in that day, salt preserved and it added flavor. Those things, when you apply it to the church, are powerful because what God is saying is the church is his divine tool, his divine instrument for accomplishing his work. What is that work? We are the church. So if you are a Christian, you are being used directly and very purposefully by God to do a specific task that he has created you to accomplish. Salt does those two things, and it does it very well. And so to put it in our context today, if you do not have a refrigerator or a freezer, your food goes bad. You have to eat it that day, otherwise it goes bad. And even then, my wife and I, we buy lettuce, and if we don't eat it in a couple days, it's already brown and soggy and we can't eat it. Salt preserves. So when you put that in the context of the church in the world, without salt, your food rots. Without the church, the world, society dies. God uses the church to literally save the world. If we do not do our job as salt, society dies. God has always preserved through us, through the church. And so we would invite you to accept Christ for that purpose, that you fulfill your divine goal and reason you are alive through that as well. He says that we are salt and light. Verse 14 says, "You are the light of the world. A city set on a hill cannot be hidden, nor do people light a lamp and put it under a basket, but on a stand." So I don't have to really give you much of a fantastic idea of people who say they're Christians, but they live their entire lives in a box, kind of secluded, and nobody knows anything about them, let alone the fact that they're a Christian. Jesus here is saying, you are the light of the world. The whole point of the church is to be part of the city and part of the people that we live around and to affect them. We can only do that if we are light. In the same way, here in America, the sun doesn't really matter. Because if you want to stay up all night and study for your exam, you can. Between coffee and lights, doesn't matter. But in that day, when the sun went down unless you have a candle, your day is done. You go to bed. Without light, and if any of y'all have gone caving, I've gone caving, it's an amazing experience because you go underground, you turn all the lights off, and you can't even see the hand in front of your face. It's amazing. God is literally making that connection that with no light, you can't see. So when he calls the church the light of the world, if you take the church away, you need to be able to see truth, and the church is that truth. I talk to countless people throughout the week who come up and there is no truth. For one, that by itself is a truth, that there is no truth. There is. And when all these people are searching for answers, they are looking to the church. We are the only ones who have the answer. This is the answer. So, explanation without application, a professor told me once, is basically doing adultery to the scripture. Without this, we know, but we don't do. So I would ask you, do. Tell someone about Jesus, tell someone about the truth of scripture, and invite someone to come with you next time.
Thank you, Kyle. Thank you, Kyle.